Welcome to the Money GPS. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Look around. You see inflation every single day. Watch how this unfolds. I will take you step by step through each and every piece of the puzzle. If you stay with me through this video, I'm going to show you 3 resources that generally are not known to the public and will help you decipher what inflation is at this moment for you. So let's begin by taking a look here. Number 1, central banks. What are they doing? This is the primary thing. If you're not paying attention to that, you might as well put your head in the sand. What central banks are doing right now, almost all of them, basically except for China, is in a tightening cycle. That means it's more difficult to get that cash, the easy money. That flow not happening, it's a problem, okay? The Bank of England, we have increased interest rates to 1.25%. Now, this right here shows us that these central banks are all doing it in concert, all in lockstep. What about the Swiss National Bank? They surprised with their first interest rate hike in 15 years. And guess what? They act like a hedge fund. They go out and they actually buy stocks, including a lot of US stocks, and they are considering selling it off. They are considering allowing the Swiss currency, the Swiss franc, to actually appreciate against the euro. We will see what happens. Wells Fargo now forecasts a, quote, mild recession starting in mid-2023 as inflation becomes more entrenched in the economy and eats into consumer spending power. You see where I'm going with this? They increase rates. You have a direct impact on the consumer. Stick with me. There's a method to my madness. More subprime borrowers are falling behind on their car loans. Tracking of the bonds backed by the consumer debt showing us that delinquency rates rose to 3.82% in April. That's 2019 levels. Why is this a problem? Well, not because it's subprime, but it shows us what's happening at the fringe. The fringe is where we get the signal because that reverberates back. Now, you might think to yourself, 3.82% is a low percentage though. But look at what the subprime crisis, okay? The thing that basically unraveled the whole world's financial system. It was actually a small percentage too, believe it or not. Amid record inflation, 36% of employees earning $100,000 or more say that they are living paycheck to paycheck. Now, I've shown these different type of stats before, different surveys, and I'm not only going to cherry pick the ones that, okay, 99% of people, no. This is 36% of people. I'm just showing you that a significant percentage of the total, whether it's 60% or 30% or what have you, earning 6 figures are living paycheck to paycheck. And I want people to understand that because I see people, they have a hatred towards others. Maybe that guy's driving a BMW or that guy's driving a Ferrari or what have you. Everybody's living paycheck to paycheck. That's what these people are doing. But guess what? That Ferrari soon will be at the dealership getting sold off, and that guy will be on the subway soon enough. And that's just the way it goes. That's the way the cycles work. I actually basically mentioned that in my first book. But anyway, stock market's fall has wiped out $3 trillion in retirement savings this year alone. $3 trillion from the total. What's happening here? The inflation up. You have interest rates up. You have the consumer starting to get a little afraid. And now we have this hitting down on those retirement savings. What about real estate? Well, you could look right here, building permits down big. I talked about this in my first book, I believe it was. The building permits are one of those indicators you got to be watching. And this is just a different way to look at the data, just showing you that we haven't seen it like this since early 2020 when everything was kind of shut down. What about here? From great resignation to forced resignation. Tech companies are shifting to layoffs after a huge ramp up in hiring. So all of these companies are go, and now suddenly it's, oh, wait a minute. You can be laid off, and so on. A lot of companies, they give some in here. Like I said, if you stick with me, I'm going to show you a resource to track those layoffs for yourself. Cost to finance a new car hits a record $656 a month, and auto shoppers could pay even more with the latest Fed rate hike. And guess what? Next month when they increase again, it's going to go up. big time. And it leads me all to this. You made it this far into the video, and I want to thank you for that. I had to do all those steps to get you to this. Could a food shortage be coming? Record diesel prices are crushing farmers. This is just one example, Pennsylvania, but look, I want to read you this quote. We have reached that point to where it is very close to being a sinking ship. We are teetering on the edge right now. If they can't afford to put it in the ground, or two, they can't afford to take it out, you're going to have a problem with food. It's basically what they're saying. We can't make it happen. At the current prices, whether it's diesel, whether it's just fertilizer, whatever it is, the input costs, the cost of doing business are currently at that breaking point. I want people to think, just go ahead, just take that time and think for a second how very serious this is. We're talking about farmers that were already struggling as it is. Okay, let's be honest. Farmers, not agribusiness, not the big farms, but like small, medium-sized farms, if they're still surviving. I think this is probably going to put a majority of them out of business if this persists into next year. And while, the bigger businesses might buy them and then still provide food, I think this is long-term very worrisome. If we do not have a stable and relatively cheap source of food domestically, we're in trouble. That goes for Canada, that goes for US, that goes for just about anywhere. You have to produce a lot of your own food or you enter a period. It could come, every year. It could be every 10 years. It could be every 50 years or 100 years. Eventually, you enter into a crisis and civil unrest results. Big problem. Now, how do you solve that? How do you resolve this? How do you deal with this? The number one factor is that you need to prepare for yourself. Because if you had your own garden, if you had your own situation all good, now you are not among all these people out there that are struggling. And while they're fighting back and forth, you could sit back. So deal with it on your own. And that's the number one best thing to do. Samsung temporarily reduces procurement amid inventory pressure. South Korean tech titan asks component makers and others to delay the shipments. You remember the Money GPS talking over and over and over and over again, we're having a semiconductor shortage. Oh, this is going to be the end of everything. You're not going to be able to get those cars. Those Ford F-150s are sitting on the lot. They're missing semiconductors. You're ordering a new BMW. It doesn't have the app, a CarPlay feature inside of it because they couldn't get the service to happen on those vehicles. The chips aren't there, so on. You've heard that before. And now, stop what you're doing. Don't even give us that. We don't even want it. I mean, what the heck is going on? What happened in the past couple months? China's holdings of US Treasuries skid to a 12-year low, and Japan also cuts the holdings. So you could look at this data. I talked about it on my e-course. If you look at the e-course, so go to my channel, you scroll down, there's playlists. One of them is e-course, and one of them refers to how you could find out which countries are buying and selling US Treasuries. I give you a whole detailed explanation in there. This is just telling us that these countries, because of the strength of the US dollar perhaps, or in the case of China, maybe they're saying, slowly but surely we want to get rid of this stuff. Who's the only buyer? The Federal Reserve. Oh, wait a second. The Federal Reserve ain't buying. Uh-oh, we got a problem. A billionaire bought a Florida home for $94 million last year. Beautiful home, by the way. Now he's selling it for around $175 million in 1 year. So the high end of the market seems to have, two sides to the equation, but I just want to show you, you've got some people that are saying, I can't eat because the food prices are going to go too high. And then we've got people that are going from $94 million to 175, like this ridiculous price increase. It's so absurd. You stayed into the end. Hey, want some resources? Oh, I still got more. I don't know if I have time for that. Resources, Truflation, Truflation.com gives you a daily updated level of inflation broken down step by step. By the way, all links will be in the description. What about shadow stats? You're probably aware of shadow stats, but if not, John Williams goes through, calculates, not based on a metric that he has discovered, but actually goes using the 1990 method and the 1980 method, the way that the government used to do it, and basically just calculates that inflation, and it is completely off the charts today. Okay. You can see that there, shadowstats.com. And then we have this, layoffs.fyi. So they basically go through and track all these different layoffs. You can see the different companies and look at what area that might be in, obviously the industry as well. So it tells you which industry, tells you where they are located, and tells you how many people and percentage of the layoffs. So you can check that all for yourself and go through that. It is a very detailed website, and I believe it looks like it's kind of done automatically. But it is live. It's constantly being updated. So really cool resource. So you stayed this far. Let's go more. Why not? Let's have some fun. All right. This is the tick index. I've shown you this before, just maybe a couple videos ago. Tick index, essentially how many stocks went up, how many stocks went down. And this is the fourth largest sell program in history. Fourth largest. It's extreme. So that's the previous trading day, okay? So extreme levels of selling happening right now. And somebody was asking for an update on this. Hope you stayed until the end to watch it. Check it out. S&P 500 mirrored with the Fed's balance sheet. And we see this over and over and over again. What's going on? That's right. All right. You look at it right here. Well, Fed's balance sheet, you know where this is going. Down, 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 right? The expectation, by the way, just so we're clear, what they've kind of hinted towards is right there, right where that line is. Do you think they're going to go down there? Not so sure about that. But that's what they say. Where would the S&P 500 be if that's the case? Maybe they don't get there. Maybe they get to 7 million, which is here. Maybe it's 7.5 million. I don't know. I'm saying million. I meant some trillion. Whatever. What's a few zeros? What's a few zeros? It's nothing. This is by the way, if you're not aware of this, the Federal Reserve, each of the different banks at the Federal Reserve, they have their own different reports and they have their own different, indicators and so on. This is the Philly Fed, and they just show you 6-month outlook, economic indicator. Haven't seen this level, by the way, a contraction like this since 2008. Crazy. Not 2020, not 2015 where there was some turmoil. No. Okay, and this is just showing you a little bit here. This is the business outlook. So not yet another indicator. We haven't seen a contraction since 2020 in that one, and this is just a whole bunch of them. Okay, Philly Fed, manufacturing survey, Richmond, it goes on. These are all starting to go down. Okay, so all the different Fed indicators are looking like things are doing so well. So what can you do? Prepare for yourself. Make sure that your situation is in order. The government's not going to take care of you. Okay. Your neighbors are probably, some of them at least, are probably oblivious. Your coworkers oblivious. They're going to be in big trouble. So I would suggest get what you need for yourself and your family. And as an emergency, get stuff for other people that are not going to be prepared. Okay, in any way, if that's beans and rice, if that's all you can do, like you're just buying essentially the next 3 months of food that you would eat anyway, that's great. Fantastic. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not doing enough or that, no, why even bother? Don't let anybody tell you that. Don't let anybody tell you that. If you can go out there tomorrow and work 1 extra hour of overtime, you did a great job because you got a little bit more. You pulled a little bit more. Okay? If you go out there and you cut somebody's grass and you made 20 bucks doing it, fantastic. Okay? You made 20 extra dollars. Put that to use. Put it to good use. Don't ever let anybody tell you that little actions are not important, because they are. Okay? That's my message. If you appreciate it, hit that thumbs up button. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.